Hello students, today we will have the explanation of the 5th chapter of Vista's book, Should Wizard Hit Mommy, from page 51 to page number 52. And this is the second video of the explanatory videos of this chapter. Now let's have the explanation of the of this part from page 51 line by line. And as we finished in the previous video, Jo asked a question from her father Jack, what's a creek? What do you mean by a creek? And the father replied, it means a little river. Over the creek now, he replies ahead, and he replies over the creek, this skunk has to go, Roger Skunk has to go from over the creek, from over the river, and there will be the wizard's house to reach the house. And that's the way Roger Skunk went. And pretty soon he came to a little white house over there. He reached over there. Roger Skunk reached over there. And when he reached over there on the house of this wizard, then he rapped the door and he knocked the door. Rap means he knocked the door of the wizard's house, and Jack rapped onto the windowsill. Just he knocked to show, to give it an effect, and he just knocked it on the windowsill just to give it an effect. And under the covers, under the bed sheet, Joe's tall figure clenched in an infantile thrill. Clenched means, my dear students, she just caught hold of the bed sheet over there, and she was just caught hold of the thing, what would happen in an infantile thrill. Infantile means in a childish thrill, in a childish emotion. She just was, what's next going to happen? And then a little tiny old man came out of the house, and he was the wizard, and it's written over here, came out with a long white beard. He had a white beard and a pointed blue hat. He was wearing a blue hat, a pointed blue hat, and he said, what's this? What you want? No, my dear students, what's this? What you want? So it's something, what this means is actually why are you over here? What's the purpose of your being over here? Why are you over here? Who is it? What this means, who is it? And what you want? What you want means, what do you want? And later on, this magician says, this wizard says over here, you smell awful, you smell very bad. And the wizard's voice, again, Jack made in his own special voices, in his own special effects, which was one of his favorite effects, and he did it by scrunching up his face, by crushing up his teeth and making a voice which was much noisy, and just crushing his teeth and speaking and then making his face, and somehow winning through the eyes. He just tried to complain, as the face was looking as if of a complaint, because this Roger Skunk had come to a very old magician, a very old wizard, and hence to give it an effect that he had actually disturbed an old man. That is why he just made such an effect. And that is why this wizard also said, so what's this, what you want? Who is it and what do you want? And you smell awful. And the wizard's voice, one of his effects, special effects, and he did it by the crushing his teeth noisily, and making of his face, and winning through the eyes also. And winning means complaining through his eyes also. And when which fell for the interval, Rumi, it seemed as if it was Rumi. Rumi means the keech, jo in Hindi we call it as keech, the watery secretion that is emitted out of the eyes. That's, or in Hindi we call it as keech or keechar. Moving ahead, my dear students, he felt being an old man suited him. Yes, just because this was an old man, yes, perhaps this is one of the reasons this is why the reason he was so much, he disliked, this man disliked this boy who came to his house this person who came to his house, the wizard, didn't like him, and secondly, he was also having bad smell. Now moving ahead, so I know it, Roger Sung scared, and all that little animals who are of the woodland actually run away from him, and this was told by Roger was over here, Roger Skunk over here, and all the little animals run away from him, he told, and the enormous wise owl said that actually you could help me in such a situation. Wizard, you can help me in such a situation, and so and so, and this was the thing told by the wise owl. Well, maybe, come on in, and he just called Roger Skunk inside, and don't get too close, simply because he was having a dirty smell. Roger Skunk was having a dirty smell, and that is why the magician over here, the wizard over here, didn't like him to come much closer, and that is why he said so. Don't get too close. Now inside, okay, come inside. Joe, there were little these magic things. Now he told Joe, his daughter, that there were magic things and all jumbled together. They were all placed in improper manner over there, all disorganized. The whole of the house was disorganized of this wizard, because the wizard did not have a cleaning lady. The answer was this, simply because the wizard didn't have a cleaning lady. So this is one of the reasons everything in the house was not in an organized form. And Joe says, why? And Jack says, why? Because he was a wizard and a very old man. Yes, he is a wizard, and he is a very old man. And Jack says, why? Because he was a wizard and a very old man. And Joe says, will he die? Simply because he is too old, will he die? Now, such a very important moral question we see over here, will he die simply because he is too old? This man will die. So Joe raises a question over here, will he die? Now Jack says, no, wizards don't die. Now Jack gave an excuse over here. He didn't wanted the whole charisma, the whole magic, actually what he had created actually should come to a standstill. So, and that is why he says wizards don't die. And later on he says, well, he rummaged around. This wizard actually rummaged around or searched around. Rummaged means searched around and found out an old magic stick, or what you call as magic wand, and asked Roger Skunk what he wanted to smell like. And he simply wanted, yes, okay, yes, a bad smell is coming from your body, and you just don't want this, and you want to have it changed. And so, what kind of smell would you like to have coming out of your body? My dear students, Roger thought and said later on, roses. Because roses have lovely smell coming from them, and so that is why Roger Skunk said, I would like to have the smell of roses coming from me. And Joe says, yes, good, yeah. So Joe was something very self-satisfied. She was not happy, not just because that particular bad smell had gone from from this body of this boy Roger Skunk. So Joe said smugly, Joe was self-satisfied, and Jack fixed her with a trance and with a change, and like a gaze and with a look, and chanted in a wizard's elderly, irritable voice. Now, the magic won't happen with some magical words, so there are some magical words over here which actually does not have any meaning over here. There are 4 lines given over here. 4 lines given over here, and they are just magical words representing nothing. These magical words, if you really say to anybody, won't produce any magic, real magic, but they are just because in the story, and the whole story is being narrated to a small girl, to a young girl, and so, and these are magical words written over here, and the wizard said so and chanted that that whole thing over here. So the magical words are abracadabra, hocus pocus, Roger skunk, how do you do, roses, boses, pull an ear, roses skunk, you never fear, and bingo. And by saying bingo, and the whole of the magic work is over, and now the old smell of the Roger skunk is gone now, and the new smell of roses has come or entered in the body of Roger skunk. Now, moving to the next page, page 52, is moves ahead. He paused with a rapt expression. With a rapt means inspired or carried away expression, or he was just absorbed in the expression, and widened out from his daughter's nostrils. He was seeing how the daughter was actually just seeing to it, listening to him, and forcing her eyebrows up and her lower lip down in a wide, noiseless grin, and she smiled so. The daughter smiled so. Grin means smile. An expression in which Jack was surprised to recognize his wife's feigning pleasure. When he saw the smile of the daughter, he just felt the same smile which his wife had, and especially the smile which she normally had at cocktail parties. Claire had at cocktail parties. And all of a sudden he whispered, the whole inside of the wizard's house was full of smell of roses, and Roger Fish cried. Now you might be thinking till now the whole story is about Roger Skunk. Now from where did the Roger Fish come actually? And the wizard said, very cranky, who was very old, and that will be 7 pennies. Now, the whole story, as I told you, the whole story is about Roger Skunk. So this was an error made by the father, Jack, over here. And that is why Joe objects over here to father. And she asks a question, Daddy. Jack says, what? And Joe says, Roger Skunk, you said Roger Fish. The story was about Roger Skunk, and it's not about Roger Fish. How did the Roger Fish come over here, Papa? So Jack says, yes, Skunk. Or Joe says, you said Roger Fish. Wasn't that silly? Papa, wasn't that silly? And Jack says, very silly of your stupid old daddy. And where was I? Where was I telling you the story where we had finished? Well, you know about the pennies. Do you want me to tell you about the pennies? And Joe says, tell about the pennies. How did he pay the pennies? How did Roger Skunk pay the pennies? And Jack says, okay, Roger Skunk said, but all I have is 4 pennies. Now Roger Skunk simply had 4 pennies. The father just gave a twist over here. It means, and the wizard had asked for 7 pennies, but Roger Skunk had only 4 pennies over here. And he began to cry. And Joe made the crying face again, and she again started crying, and a crying face again, but this time without a trace of sincerity. It means that this girl was too sharp in mind. She knew if I'll start crying and if I'll start making faces, certainly the father will change or bring a twist in the story, some twist which will be according to what she thinks. The daughter Joe thinks. But what happened actually, this annoyed Jack. Jack didn't like this. And downstairs some more furniture rumbled, some more furniture actually was moved in, some furniture was being dragged by Claire. And Claire shouldn't be moving heavy things according to him, because she was 6 months pregnant. And they both were, Jack and Claire were having their 3rd child. They were about to have their 3rd child. And later on, so the wizard said, so the father, Jack, again started narrating taking the story ahead. So the wizard said, oh, very well, go to the end of the lane. Yes, if you don't have the amount of pennies, you don't have 7 pennies and you have only 4, no problem. You can have it arranged for me. And in this way, we see over here that the wizard actually gave a way, he told a way from how he can get the rest of the 3 pennies. because Roger Skunk had 4 and he had asked 7 pennies. Wizard had asked 7 pennies, and that is why and just because Roger Skunk didn't have, so that is why he just directed Roger Skunk how he can actually get him the amount of pennies. Go to the end of the lane, go to the end of the road. Lane means road, and turn around 3 times. You just turn around 3 times and look down. There will be a magic well over there, and then you will find there 3 pennies over there, 3 coins over there, and hurry up. So Roger Skunk went to the end of the lane and he just turned 3 times, around 3 times, and there was a magic well, and in that magic well were 3 pennies or 3 coins. So he took them back to the wizard, so he took them to the wizard, was very happy, and ran out into the woods. Later on, Roger Skunk just went into the woods, and all other little animals gathered around him and played with him because he smelled so good. And animals gathered around him because he smelled so good, and they played tag, baseball, football, basketball, lacrosse, hockey, soccer, pickup sticks. Now these were all different games what they were playing. So my dear students, tag is actually a children's games in which we all children have played in our childhood. It's a game in which one chases the rest, and anyone who is caught then becomes the pursuer, or the work of the pursuer is to again start catching other children. So this game is called as tag. And moving ahead, so one again, you people not be knowing what is lacrosse game. So lacrosse game is actually a team game, actually, my dear students, which originally was played and is played in North American Indians, and in which the ball is thrown and carried and caught with a long handle stick, which is a curved L-shaped or a triangular frame at one with a piece of shallow netting in the angle. So there's a rod over there in which there's a small net over there, and the ball which is thrown, so it's caught in that, and then later on it's to be deposited in the goal. So this game is called as lacrosse. So these games, these children of the woodland were playing over there. They played tag, they played baseball, they played football, they played basketball, lacrosse, hockey, soccer, and pickup sticks. Now again, a pickup stick was something which she didn't knew, and that is why Joe asked a question, what's pickup sticks, Daddy? What kind of game is this? Now Jack said it's a game, you just play with sticks. So simply just the name comes over here, you play with sticks. And Joe says, like the wizard's magic van, and Jack says, the father said, hey, you can think a kind of, Joe, you can think so. And they played games together, and they laughed the whole afternoon, and then it began to get dark, and all these children ran back to their houses, to their mommies. And with this, we come to the end of the second part of the video. Thank you.